We typically think of Africa as a third world country, but Africa isn't a country, it's a continent. And while that may be true, there are people living there that don't live that way. In fact, the rich kids of the rest of the world should be looking at the rich kids of Africa as worthy contenders. In a continent where poverty is the norm, these kids don't even realize what is happening across the rest of their continent. Before we get started, if you enjoy learning about the lives of rich kids all over the world, take a moment to click on that red subscribe button and give this video a like. Like we said earlier, Africa is typically seen as a developing area. It's one of the wealthiest continents as well as the poorest continent in the world. For example, let's take a look at Nigeria, which is the location of Africa's biggest economy. Right now, there are approximately 163,000 millionaires living in Africa. There live some of the wealthiest families in the world, and their kids are definitely reaping in the benefits. From luxury cars, access to private jets, homes, and glittering gold and powerful allies as family, these rich kids are certainly living an amazing lifestyle. While we typically like to put rich kids from other countries in the spotlight, the rich kids from Africa are proving themselves to be equals. They have just as much, if not more money as the rest of these rich kids, and they love showing off their wealth and privilege as much as possible. Of course, it may feel a bit weird to talk about just how rich these kids are while there are people starving in other parts of Africa. These rich kids truly demonstrate how much work Africa has cut out for them. The ultimate way to show off your massive wealth is to decorate your house in gold. Numerous rich kids in Nigeria live in humongous houses that are decked out in gold. Some are more subtle with golden accents to things like furniture, while other homes have rooms completely covered to the point where you think you've walked into MC Hammer's gold pants. When you think about how many people in Africa are homeless and seek shelter, these rich kids are living in spaces that can house several dozen people. In Nigeria, it's not uncommon to have several billionaires living in the same area. Banking is one of the biggest industries in the area, along with engineering. Politicians are also known for making some money as well. Anyway, these rich kids are living the high life in their own contemporary palaces. The more gold that's used to deck out the house, the better. If you want to prove yourself to be the coolest kid on the billionaire block, not only do you need a palace glittering in gold, but your toys need to be the best. We're talking about cars. The latest models can be easily found in Africa, and these rich kids aren't only driving them, but decking them out. Think of it like buying a beautiful diamond ring and then buying additional diamonds to embellish it. That's what these kids do with their cars, and they modify them with the latest in stereo systems, gold decor, and even home entertainment systems. Of course, cars aren't enough for these kids, and many of them even have their own private jets. Again, these kids are coming from families that are worth billions of dollars, so spending a few million on the nicest private jets is merely a blip on the bank account. From smaller jets to large planes that are basically playgrounds in the sky, these rich kids won't be seen flying coach or even first class on your typical commercial airline. If you want the best air travel that money can buy, then you need to make friends with a rich kid from Africa. Maybe it's time to go through that spam folder and find that email from the Nigerian prince. Food is not the most readily available thing in Africa. There are countless missions and organizations dedicated to helping those who are impoverished and starving. But when you're a rich kid who has millions as a spending allowance, you can pretty much get whatever you want to eat. Granted, if you want something exotic, you have a few choices. You can either hop on a private jet to another country, or you can pay to have the food imported. Nigeria has a decent amount of options when it comes to restaurants, but they all come at a hefty price. Of course, this is no issue for Africa's rich kids, as they are more than happy to set down mom and dad's credit cards in order to get the best eats around. Depending on which country in Africa you go to, you can get access to some of the finest meals around. Nigeria is one of the most popular places for fine dining, and there's a reason why the rich choose to live there. If there's one thing we know for sure, it's that rich kids absolutely love to partay. One of the perks of going to a party is that sometimes the host will give their guests party favors. While this is normally reserved for more formal party events like weddings and such, we always appreciate a little incentive to attend certain events. We're talking gifts, party bags, sampler packs, the works. If you had to choose which parties to go to, apparently there are rich kids who are literally giving away free money to attendees. They're quite literally throwing their money away on their guests. So if you're looking to pay some bills or even buy a yacht, you best go to one of these parties. Also, you can enjoy some of the finest food and drinks money can buy, celebrity DJs, and networking with the kids of the most important people in the world. These parties are the hottest places to be, and they directly compete with some of the nicest nightclubs around. The rich kids of Africa can get anything their heart desires. In the capital city of Abuja in Nigeria, there is the Jabi Lake Mall, which has some of the finest shopping in the area. There, a rich kid can indulge in shopping the latest brands, have personal assistants to help carry bags, and play in the ultimate playground. But if a rich kid wants more options, they can easily hop onto a jet plane and go directly to Paris to shop for Chanel on site. Or they can go to Monaco and get one of their finest watches. But if there's anything that a rich kid values and wants, it's shoes. It's not uncommon for a rich kid to have several pairs of the same shoe. Hey, shoes get dirty, and these kids have better things to do than to get their shoes cleaned. In fact, one rich kid boasted that he collects Louboutin shoes like coupons. Given that you can get coupons by the hundreds per week alone, that just tells you how much money this kid has dropped on shoes, and he doesn't care about the price tag. Speaking of not caring about the price tag, for a rich kid from Nigeria, the world is literally their playground. Most of us dream about traveling around the world, but we either can't afford the price tag that comes with it, or we don't want to deal with all of the logistics. Sure, staying at home is an option when you can have the world delivered to your doorstep, but the true adventure is out there waiting for these kids. They often travel to other exotic places and connect with the local rich kids. It's not uncommon to find these rich kids in places like Dubai, Paris, New York City, London, and more. With access to travel options like boats and jets, these travelers can go wherever their heart desires. From eating seafood in Monaco or even having tea with the Queen, these kids are proving that they have access to more money than most people around the world. They've even been known to import their expensive rides with them so they can show off their vast wealth. Think of it like a contest between all of the rich kids. Africa has one of the hottest climates in the world. It's also an area where the further inland you go, the less chance you have to finding a nice water source to cool off. There are a few lakes, but many of them are saltwater lakes with such a high salt content that you can't even open your eyes. So when you're a rich kid who's desperate to cool off as well as have some relaxation time, you can definitely budget in some pool construction. Sure, traveling to a cooler climate might be an option, but these rich kids don't want to have to gas up the private jet all of the time. It's nice to sometimes stay where your roots are and just have some time to take a dip in your luxury pool. These rich kids will often have friends over while wearing designer brand swimsuits like Gucci and Givenchy. Before you judge and say that this is all too much, if you're living in heat that is in the triple digits, you'll look for a way to cool down. But when your bank account is massive, you can't just bust out the inflatable pool, duh. Coming from one of the richest families in the world means that you have some of the most amazing connections and political ties. These rich kids have abundant opportunities at their reach. From creating a new startup company to having the right connections to get into the best colleges in the world, family is everything. Family is also the source of the money, so there are certain behaviors and expectations set upon these rich kids. That means that if there are public appearances that need to be made, visits to the elderly family members, or even socialize with certain people's kids, you do it. It's all for the sake of keeping access to all of that money, as well as making sure you're mentioned in the will when the old money moves on to the light. Schmoozing doesn't just happen in the business world, it's also a necessity in order to keep up the goods with the family. Hey, maybe being rich isn't all that easy after all. If you had the chance to live life as a rich kid in Africa, would you do it? Besides some of the politics that may be involved, most of us would probably dive in head first for such an amazing chance. From having access to the nicest cars, private jets, gourmet food, and the ability to go wherever the wind takes you, these rich kids are definitely living the life of financial freedom. Of course, when you live in a family full of billionaires, it can be tedious to have endless amounts of money. These kids will never know what it's like to live from paycheck to paycheck or having to budget for bills and food. As they say, hard work builds character. These rich kids are working hard to maintain their wealth. They might even use mom and dad's money to create their own source of vast wealth, thus continuing the cycle. It's a completely different world for these rich kids. You can't choose what family you're born into, and if you don't like your circumstances, you can certainly change it. But these rich kids are likely very grateful for their family and wealth. Considering they live someplace where poverty is a very real issue, there's a constant reminder that life could be worse. Tell us what you think about these rich kids in the comments below, and if you can't get enough of the richest, stick around for our next video coming right up. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel before you go and show this video some love with a thumbs up. See you guys next time, and thank you so much for watching.